Okay, so I'm ready to dig, and I've already cut a few of these stalks off, but you want to leave a little space. You don't want to cut them all the way down to the bottom. You want to get rid of those. And then you always need a stake. Rebar is probably the best, especially if it's going to be a big one. And you just pull that out. Okay, so now, when I go to dig, I've put in probably 1 or 2 tubers, but I know that this has grown over the summer, so I want to dig out to make sure that I don't cut any off. So this is how I do that. I just cut out about this far, and I just kind of loosen it as I go. Make a circle around it. Okay, so I've loosened it up a little bit, and I like to, after I've loosened it up, kind of get in here and pull a little bit of this away so I can start to see. First thing you're going to see is the roots, and I'm starting to see a root right here, so I know I've gone probably out far enough. I clear that away because I don't want, I see another root, few more roots over here, a few more over here. So I know I've probably gone out far enough. Now I'm going to take my shovel again and go probably a little deeper and try and loosen that, kind of move it up a little bit and go all the way around it again. Okay, and again, I'm going to see where I'm at. Get rid of some of that dirt. I think this one's going to be a big one, so I'm going to take it step by step. Again, I'm going to go through, but I'm going to try and lift a little bit now. Okay, now I'm just going to loosen it. It's kind of heavy because of all the dirt, and the dirt's kind of wet. You don't want to bounce it because you'll break off the tubers. See, there's a nice long one right there. Another nice long one. Another one there. Okay, this was a tuber that was pretty small, and so I thought I wouldn't put it in the ground in the garden part. I'd just put it in a pot, and you can do these in a pot. So just kind of wiggle it around like this and kind of put a little pressure on it. And I've already cut off the tops. Just grab a hold of those stems, and that is why we leave those stems there. And I had some stones in there to kind of help for the drainage. And then you just kind of gently, kind of like when you get when you get them out of the ground, you just kind of gently loosen up that dirt. Gently, though. Now keep in mind, I only put like 1 little tuber in here, and it's looking like I've got quite a bit because they do multiply. And then you just follow my cleaning like I do when I get them out of the garden. But you can see there's a few tubers in there, right there. So that's just that much more that's just one of those tails that I'll break off eventually. And that's just one that's been in a pot. Okay, you can see that I've kept my stems pretty long. That's for 2 purposes. One, it'll help me lift it and hold on to it. And 2, here's another one that I've cut. The stems are hollow. And as I'm washing this, I'm washing all this dirt off. I don't want the water to get down there because it may rot the tubers. So I'm going to leave them tall until I get all this dirt cleaned off. So I'm going to use kind of a soft, not anything real hard as far as pressure from the hose to kind of rinse that off. Okay, so here are a bunch of roots that we can just, you know, you can clip off all these. They don't really matter. All along, I mean over here, there's a bunch of them. You just clip those. You can clip off just even the tail end here. This is the tail end here of this tuber goes clear out there. You can cut him off clear up there. These are just the roots, okay, so you can get rid of those. Now, you don't have to do this right now, and you don't have to do it technically at all, but this is just something to know. This tuber right here is coming off of this one, and it will never get an eye. The eyes all form around the center where the stalks are. Okay, so we could cut this off, and that's fine. You see how that's just raw right there. There's a little bit of dirt there that you can't see. That's fine. Now here's another one that I did already, and I've cut that, and that's fine. If you get down there and you're cutting and you end up cutting some of that off, that's perfectly fine, because it really doesn't matter at this point. It's all around the center. Here's a few eyes, those little white specks right in through there. Like right there, and those little white specks, those are all eyes, and then you can divide those, and we'll talk about that later, but you can divide them, and then you can have more than one. You could put this just in the ground, but you don't have to. You could divide them up if you wanted to share them with your friends or family, or trade them with somebody who has some. You can use them for that. But now that I have cleared this all off, I'll cut these stalks. Like this one was really tall, just like this one, and I cut this off. Now, here's one more thing. You see how this right here, you might want to go through and clean some of that out, because that's going to hold moisture. Okay, like put a little hole like that down through there. You know, just like grind it like that, because that'll help dry that out, because all that moisture will go into those tubers and possibly rot it. Because this one was kind of sealed up, but you need to kind of clear that out a little bit. You can cut a little bit of that away, because you don't want too much of that moisture to get in there. I always look at mine once a month, because I want to make sure that they're not getting too moist, or if they're not getting too dry, which we'll talk about when I talk about the storing for the winter. But right now we've washed these off, and we have to wait for them to dry before we can store them.